Hey everybody, welcome back to another weekly Disney hangout here on Eye to Eye Disney Through Our Eyes. My name is Kyle, and thank you for joining us. Whether you're watching this live or on the replay, we're here to talk about Disney news, especially in the world of Disney Parks news tonight. And it's not just me tonight sitting here discussing these things. I've once again brought in a good friend that's been with me the past couple weeks talking about all these things, and that is Mr. Conor Brown from WDW Opinion. Conor, welcome.
Thank you, Kyle. Hey, third time's a charm. Let's see if we get it right this time.
Well, you've been doing it right the entire time. My thing is, I don't know if I've been doing it right the entire time. I just wing it.
Hey, I wing every single thing I do in my life, and I'm still here. I'm still standing.
You can't see it right now, but I'm actually wearing a wingman. There you go, wingman shirt,
nice.
Donald Duck. So winging it, wingman, it all works together. Yeah. But anyway, so thank you for joining me, and thank you all of you popping in right now. As you do, please do make sure you smash that like button to help the stream out. That is much appreciated. We'll say hello to a couple people who are already here. Leonard, nice to see you, my friend, and Captain Akron 27. Captain Akron, I keep hoping that you're going to get that win in trivia night. You come so close, like every night, but those people like Allie Rose and 8, they always seem to get in your way. It's coming though, my friend. It's coming. All right, so we've got a lot to talk about this evening. Tonight, we've centralized around the idea and the news that there's a lot of sports coming to Walt Disney World, but we might hit on some other topics as well if it kind of flows that way in our short time together. But I thought I should open up with you, Conor, this question. Sports, where are you at on that spectrum? I don't want to assume that you're a sports fan, but like what's your deal with that? Like, are you a sports fan?
Oh yeah, big sports fan. You can judge me all you want, but my family is from the Boston area.
No.
So Patriots, Red Sox, Celtics, and Bruins fan. You can shake your head all you want, but you're shaking your head at success, and no one likes that.
So I know we want to bring this back to Disney, but let me take a quick aside real quick. I have long despised the Patriots, even though I'm not really a big NFL fan. Never have been. I just never really, I'm more of a college athletics type of person. But now the Patriots have an Auburn quarterback there, Jarrett Stidham. And so it's kind of like, oh, what do I do? I've grown up with this disdain for the Patriots and Tom Brady. Tom Brady's not there anymore. And now they have an Auburn quarterback. So I don't know. I may be coming over to your side.
What you do is you come over to the dark side. It's fun over here, man. I don't know about this year, if it's going to be fun or not, but it'll be interesting. But yes, I am a big sports fan. I love all those sports here in America. Big golfer as well.
Golf.
So,
really? Yeah,
I enjoyed watching. That was the first, I'd say, big sporting event that went on here in America just this last weekend. It was just, a regular sort of tournament. They played it with no fans, but it was interesting to see, a sporting event occurring here in America.
Yeah, I mean, it's been weird with not having it, but the good thing is that Disney World is stepping up and helping us get a little bit of that sports world back in the world, with their world at least. And so what we have decided that we'd like to talk about tonight is the fact that the Major League Soccer, MLS, and National Basketball League Association, NBA, are going to be coming to Walt Disney World to participate. And it's it's a lot of sports all at once. And I'm very happy that Disney has decided to step up and find a way to help us get this back on TV into our lives. And even as someone who is a college sports fan, don't really, buy into the professional side of it that much, I still can appreciate it because there are some players in there that I like to follow and things of that nature. So MLS is coming first. Conor, are you a big MLS fan?
Not really. I follow international soccer as much as I can. Yeah. I follow, English Premier League as much as I can as well. I think the big thing with, sports coming to Walt Disney World is we keep saying it, with each passing, day, week, as we hear new announcements of how the parks are going to open, the light at the tunnel is getting closer. When we think about these sports taking place, ramping back up, coming to Walt Disney World, the light at that tunnel is getting closer as well when it comes to, ramping up all the sports back to normal, getting those schedules on pace. Not a huge Major League Soccer fan, but I think this is what's going to happen. People are going to start to become one. because there's no baseball, right? We're still going to be stuck at home for the most part, social distancing and things like that. Even though, MLS and the NBA are coming to Disney World, there's not going to be any fans or anything. But a big thing is they're all going to be broadcast as much as humanly possible. ESPN, ABC, they're going to broadcast as many games as they can. And that's going to be a huge thing for TV, for viewership. So even if, you don't have some sort of, I don't know, affinity for the NBA or for the MLS, this is still a big deal just on getting all of our lives back to somewhat normal.
It is. And, what's interesting here, I think, too, which I'm sure hit on this. Avery, by the way, hello. Nice to see you as well. He says, and this is more NBA centric, but I think it follows with the MLS discussion we're having right here, too. I heard they're going to close the roads in the area that the players will be playing, so only NBA players and officials have access to it. And I think that makes sense. If this is, and I hate to describe it this way, but the NBA, the MLS almost feel like this is Disney World's little experiment with how bringing people together in larger numbers, not necessarily crowds to watch the games, but just people together is going to play out. What happens if someone gets sick and, how do they mitigate all that? So I do think you're going to find some interesting things like Avery was talking about, how they function with flow of people, where they are and aren't allowed to go. But more back on the soccer side of things, I always think of the MLS or soccer in general as the Epcot of the sports, because when I think about it, it is, I get excited about the World Cup, the international side of it. And I'm going to be honest with you, I love going to the Epcot showcase pavilions and looking at all the different soccer jerseys and gear that you can get there. That's really how I connect to soccer, especially at Walt Disney World.
Yeah, I think that's always been the biggest thing. I don't think soccer has ever been, a huge thing at Disney. I don't know. It's not like the NFL, where when you win the Super Bowl, you're going to Disney World, right? The NFL will always have that. Even more so, there's a super strong relationship the NBA has with Disney, mainly because there's a strong relationship it has with ESPN and ABC, right? But we have the NBA experience at Disney Springs. You can say whatever you want about that. I don't care. But the MLS sort of thing is, there's never been a huge tie-in, but I think that's also an America thing, right? Yeah. There's not a huge tie-in to soccer in most places, but I do like that, that you can go through the World Showcase pavilions and you can see, an English jersey. You can see, of course they have all of the, Liverpool, Tottenham, Man City, Man U stuff.
And just throwing out the names here. Look at you.
I got them all. Yeah, whatever you want. But that is interesting. I guess I never connected that as much with the soccer and Epcot. But yeah, it's like a World Cup.
It is. It's such an international sport, and I think to some degree the NBA is as well, especially with their reach over in China. That's a huge market for them. They've got some great players that have come over from China to play in the NBA and some players that have left the NBA to go play in China. And they're both very good international ambassadors in just creating unity across the world. So I think it's good representation. Football is American. I mean, I know we've got our Canadian league. We've got a European league to some extent. I think there was a league, or it may still be in Mexico at one point.
At one point, yeah, but I don't think that lasted too long.
Yeah. But the point still stands. I think these are two good representatives to bring into Walt Disney World. Obviously, it works out well because they both wanted to have some type of season or finishes. Specifically for the MLS, you want to talk about creating a fun atmosphere in terms of just like pageantry for your tournament. I mean, yeah, take it to Walt Disney World. The magic is going to happen. Who's going to win? I have not been following the MLS. I've been to one game in my lifetime where I live outside of Atlanta. What are they? The Atlanta United.
United, yeah.
And I saw that game, and that was the year that they won the MLS Cup. So do you know who's like good this year? Who's going to be probably hoisting that cup at Walt Disney World?
Oh, I have no idea. And I also know it's interesting that this is the MLS is back tournament, which I think is something they typically play every year, but I think it's kind of cool to start the tournament or to start the season with a tournament. And when it comes to that, the NBA is going to have a difficult time. They're leaving some of their teams out, right?
Right.
Teams are going to Orlando. So I think they're going to have an interesting time with sending teams away, with scheduling and stuff. But this is a tournament. It's set up. Once you're done, sort of thing. You're going to play a round robin style with the MLS stuff. And then you're going to, pack up your stuff and leave. I think with the NBA, you're halfway through a season, right?
Something like that.
An article, it was so weird that they're still doing free agency. So I guess technically, like before they show up in Orlando, you could switch a team, and the first time you're playing with someone is in Orlando, or they could be trading even in Orlando. I don't know. That's crazy to me. But this tournament, the MLS's back tournament, is really cool, and it seems like how involved they're going to be with this thing. It's if your club wins and all 26 clubs are competing in it, it's going to be 16 consecutive days of group stages, and then it'll count to the regular season standings. Mm-hmm. But if players win, whatever club wins, they're eligible to split a $1.1 million prize. So that's some serious incentive for them to actually, play really good, and for a team to want to win it. And then if the team wins it, they go to the CONCACAF Champions League, which is like all the best.
Right. All together,
area. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting.
It is good. It is good. Tori, nice to see you. Thanks for stopping in to hang out with us for a little bit. I had it a little backwards. I thought it was postseason. That tells you how well I pay attention to soccer. And this is someone who actually enjoys playing the game of soccer. Like, I played it for 1 year in high school and all the way up to that. But I'm just not that good. So
MLS it's a weird season. Like, they start and stop a lot.
Yeah.
So no, I mean, it is hard to keep up if you're not a diehard devotee. But
if I am happy for any sports to continue to grow, even if it's like one that doesn't have as big of a following. So I'm happy that the MLS is getting a little bit of exposure by being the first into Walt Disney World. So I thought you brought up a great point about the free agency thing with NBA, and I guess this could be in any scenario with a sports league if they were doing this stay at the Walt Disney World thing. Could you imagine? Let's just imagine that one team is staying at All-Star Music and one team is staying. I know that's not how it's happening, but I'm just playing devil's advocate. And one team staying at the Grand Floridian. Imagine if you got traded from the team that was staying at All-Star Music and went to the Grand Floridian. I mean, come on. That's awesome.
I read something early on when this whole thing was in the works, and I feel like it was from ESPN, where they had a source that was saying whoever is the higher seeds right now, who when the season ended they were the best teams and stuff. The Boston Celtics were one of them, in case you're wondering. They were going to get first pick at selecting a resort. Now we know that's not the case.
Wow.
Putting all of them at the Coronado Springs Resort, which makes sense because, initially Coronado Springs is not opening June 22nd, just next week. They're going to open Disney Vacation Club resorts and then the Fort Wilderness Cabins and Campgrounds. We talked a little bit about that last week, but all the NBA players, teams, associates, they're going to be staying at the Coronado Springs. But yeah, that would have been awesome if, your team was the best team and, you're in the lap of luxury at the Grand Floridian, and you have a team like, I don't know if the Utah Jazz are good this year, but they're at All-Star Music.
Wait, they still exist? I
think so. Yeah.
I was watching that documentary with Michael Jordan, and they were talking a lot. I remember the days of the Utah Jazz being in the finals with them and listening to that game on the radio. So I was like, oh yeah, the Jazz still exists. They're out there somewhere. Yeah. I wish those were the good old days. Of course, the Bulls aren't that great. Well, they were for a time. It goes back and forth. Your Boston Celtics, I mean, when you lose Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce and all that stuff, I'm going to quit taking shots at your team.
No, that's all right. I'm fine. We won a championship. I could have been happier with any of that. I think the weird thing that's going to happen is MLS, right? You have this very defined tournament. Mm-hmm. You don't win, that's fine. You can still win the premier thing at the end. But the NBA, what they're going to do, they're carrying this through. They're playing some final regular season games, and then they're going to go into the playoffs. And then when the playoffs are done, they're going to crown a champion down there. How does how do we look back on this year?
You're right.
Are they actually the winners? Is there going to be an asterisk next to it? I don't know. It's going to be very, very, very interesting. And I think, a whole nother topic of conversation. Some of the NBA players have voiced concerns, like they don't think it's now a good time to be playing and stuff. But it's just so interesting. Kyle, have you ever been to the Wide World of Sports complex?
You literally took one of my questions for you right out of my mouth. And so I'm going to go ahead and make a confession. I have not. I have never set foot in the Wide World of Sports. And I'm guessing you have.
That's all right. If you're not part of a sporting event, there's absolutely no reason to go there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is. I guess I would say if you like, I don't know, sporting complexes on green, for sure. But if nothing's going on, I think you still have to pay to get in, which is crazy to me. So in high school, I played lacrosse here in Maryland, and we actually did spring training. So here, in Maryland, lacrosse is king. Like it's our state sport. Actually, our state sport is jousting. I don't know how that happened, but there you go.
Okay.
This is like a lacrosse hotbed. So going down there to play, Florida teams would come and play us and stuff, but we spend a whole week in Disney. And the facilities there are incredible. I mean, they take you from one of the All-Stars that we were staying at. We got to work out in the weight room. Some of the Atlanta Braves players were there because they were doing training. So that was cool. There's restaurants and stuff. And then I've also been there because my cousin competed in one of the world dance championships or cheerleading championships, something like that, which they just descend upon that place. But it is massive. I mean, some of the stats behind it, it has, let's see here, 3 arenas. So for basketball, those 3 arenas, they can all be converted to 20 basketball courts. 20 basketball courts. That will allow the NBA to play 2 games at once and still have a practice space. Then there's restaurants. There's a 9-lane track and field complex, 17 grass fields, and then that 9,500 seat baseball stadium, which they won't really use, but there's just so much space here. Enough space to spread out and still host 2 professional United States sporting leagues, pretty much in their entirety.
So how many, I'm trying to think of, I forget the acreage of Animal Kingdom Park, counting the Kilimanjaro Safaris ride with that. How many of those do you think fits in all that land? Because that sounds to me like when you fit all those fields, all those facilities together, that is, I mean, I know it's not a Walt Disney World park, but it's basically it's kind of like a 5th gate. I mean, that's got to be their largest with the amount of stuff that's out there. Any thoughts on that?
Oh, it's gigantic. It wouldn't surprise me if it was, the same size or bigger than Animal Kingdom itself. Actually, it's not bigger just because Kilimanjaro Safaris is gigantic. But if you take like maybe the, areas you're allowed to walk in as a guest.
Yeah.
I remember walking to one tent where my cousin was walking from the parking lot to there. Oh my gosh, it took forever. And when you're playing lacrosse too, you have so many pads and you have this gigantic bag in your stick. Walking all the way back after practice, oh, it was brutal. It was
in that Florida heat.
Florida heat. There's like 10,000 steps leading up to it too. Oh, it was tough. I'm sure that the NBA players and the MLS players, they're going to get whisked around in different means, but stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, let's hit a couple of comments here. Leonard said, too bad the Pistons are no good now. Yeah, I think y'all are going to be left out of that, unfortunately.
Sorry.
He says also definitely an asterisk on this season. Do you think so? I mean, do you think an asterisk is worthy of something that was out of their control? It's not like, I hate to, this is also pertinent right now. There's documentaries coming out, the whole juicing in baseball and home runs thing. That's something they did. This is something that they didn't. Do you think it deserves an asterisk?
Well, it deserves an asterisk because there's no home field advantage. There's no fans playing, so I don't know why you wouldn't always just bet the favorite. Like if you're a betting person, like when it comes to this, or think that the favorite is going to win. There's no home field advantage or whatever. I'll tell you definitively, there will be an asterisk if LeBron James wins, right? It has to. I mean, of course, this is the year LeBron wins another championship, right? Goes to the Lakers, and then, oh my gosh, it's a completely bizarro season. Yet he still wins the championship.
Don't give him another chip to have on his shoulder. And look, I grew up as a LeBron James fan, and I kind of, over the years when he burned me to go to the Heat that one time, and then another time he went to the Lakers. It's hot and cold with LeBron James, and he's a great player. I'm not going to deny it, but just hot and cold for me and him. A couple other comments here. Let's see. Captain Akron says, "Can the NBA MLS bubble work at Walt Disney World? What rules will Disney employees have to follow? How worrisome are Orlando area's rising infection rates?" Any thoughts on that, Connor?
I don't know how worrisome any of the infection rates are. I think they have it under control and things like that. When it comes to these players, they're going to be completely isolated. Like they are going to be whisked from however they're getting there. I assume all on private planes, like a team plane, basically going from place to place, and they're not going to be able to leave like the hotel. Initially it was like, oh, they're going to go around. No, they cannot just go around Disney Springs or the theme parks or whatever. They're there to play basketball in this condensed sort of season. They're not, going to be able to park hop or whatever. If they do, I think there's going to be, some serious repercussions against them. So they're going to have to go so far out of the way to do that. And then when it comes to, testing and stuff, they're going to get tested around the clock, as much as possible. The general managers, the coaches are going to do that as well. And the facilities, cast members that are working there. I think, Disney is going to be super, super cautious. I'm glad that Disney is the one doing this, right? I think some other ones might not live up and might not, live up to the expectations or be able to accommodate this. But we're also talking about a gigantic sort of space that's completely sprawling. And if you think about an NBA team, there's only 10 players on each team, pretty much 12 players or something like that. MLS, it's not that many players in the grand scheme of things, no fans and stuff. So plenty of potential to spread out, but still they're going to be keeping an eye on every single person involved in this.
Yeah, and Captain Akron kind of he asked that as well. He kind of addressed that, how well they're going to be able to confine people inside Disney World for 2 to 3 months. I wouldn't think of it as confining, just controlling the access points, the flow of who is going where and stuff like that when it comes to that type of thing. And then Leonard says the accommodations are fantastic and the area is great too. That will be just fine. I mean, like you said, Connor, if anybody was going to pull this off for the sports world, it had to be Walt Disney World. I mean, I'm sure there are other great companies with other great facilities and lands out there, not that one across the street. This is definitely the place that you want to try it. And Pamela is also here, and she is lamenting about her Chicago Bulls. Looks like we've got a lot of lamenting NBA fans. We can't all be Boston Celtics and New England Patriots, Connor.
No, we can't. I'm glad I am, though. So that's all that matters to me. It is interesting because for the NBA, it came down to two places, Disney World and Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of reasons, the central kind of the way Disney can centralize it as much as possible, one sort of complex for this is really, really great. But then also that temptation, there's less tempting things for NBA players to go
involved
in. Want to go and go to a restaurant, go to wherever, go gamble,
Right.
There's much less opportunities there in Disney World.
Anyway, I wouldn't say there's less opportunities. There's less variety of opportunity. Well, not even, that's not a good way of describing it. It's a different type of opportunities at Las Vegas. It's more adult in Las Vegas than it would be in Orlando and Disney World, I would say.
The Lopez brothers, they're twins. Yes. So they're gigantic Disney fans.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Disney fans, ever. I would see them when I worked in the parks at Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. I saw them I can't remember if I saw one or both because they're identical twins a couple of times walking around with. So I can't remember if they both made the playoffs or not, but one of them basically tweeted this is going to be so hard not going into the parks and stuff. I think they actually own 1 or 2 houses in Golden Oak, which are these multi-million-dollar homes that are just adjacent to Magic Kingdom. And when Galaxy's Edge first opened, in one of the droid shops, there was a life-size R2-D2 that could go around. $25,000. The Lopez's are one of the only people that own that replica. One of those. There was like 5, and they bought 1 or 2 of them with that.
Holy crap. Can you imagine somewhere in Golden Oak, there is an R2-D2 just humming along in there and just, I mean, I look whenever I drive by Golden Oak as I'm going to Fort Wilderness or towards the Magic Kingdom, I just look and just like, wow, what it must be like in there. That's the 6th gate. Who knows what happens in Golden Oak because we can't go in it.
And like for the Lopez's, I don't think they're going to be able to go there, even though they own a home. Like
right.
if the Orlando Magic are making it, I don't think those people playing for the team are going to be able to go to their homes and stuff. Another really funny Lopez brothers story. Kyle, do you remember? Gosh, this was almost a year back. A former Disney cast member stole a bunch of merchandise. They were taking pictures of backstage stuff like that.
Yep.
And he sold all that merchandise on eBay and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the merchandise got bought by the Lopez's. They had no idea, that it was stolen or anything like that. They're collectors, huge Disney Parks collectors, and they bought some of it off of eBay. So
that's so like I can't imagine what they went through their minds with that situation because they have the resources to obviously afford to do something like that, to buy things like that. And when you see an opportunity and you're a huge Disney fan, you're like, oh, heck yes, I'm going to take this. And then you find out it's not that it taints I guess it kind of does your collection a little bit, but it's kind of like, I don't want to give it up or give it back because I've spent the money to get this. And it's just a tough situation to be in as a Disney fan.
And now their most difficult situation being a stone's throw away from the animal kingdom and not being able to go in it. Good luck, brothers. I hope the championship this year.
You can literally hear Mount Everest and the Yeti screaming as he doesn't move at all. The arm just kind of wiggles a little bit.
Might be the scary Yeti.
Conor, we are winding down our time, but I want to give you an opportunity to share what you guys talked about on your podcast this week on WDW Opinion, a good topic that we've been addressing a lot here when you join me on Monday nights, but you guys are going in a lot more depth. So why don't you share that real quick?
There's so much going on in Disney World right now, even though it's not open. Every single day we're getting new news about the reopening period. This week, my co-host Hank and we decided to break it all down, right? We're talking about how the resorts, how the restaurants are going to operate, how you're going to get into the theme parks, what Disney World is going to look like when it reopens during this reopening phase. Head over to wdwopinion.com/87 for episode 87, and you can learn all about the opening procedures going in place. You can get our opinions on all that stuff as well.
Yes, and in the description below, I do have Conor's website, wdwopinion.com, and his YouTube channel as well. So if you have not checked out either of those things, you need to go subscribe to his YouTube channel as well. Got a lot of great people who hang out over here with us, but I want you to go check out his stuff as well, too. A couple of comments from Pamela. She is excited about trivia night, and I will wish you an early happy birthday. I will try my best not to forget on Thursday night, but you know how crazy I get on Thursday nights, Pamela. And she says her money is on Golden State Warriors bringing home another championship. No offense, I can't stand LeBron James. Sorry, LeBron.
I don't think the Warriors made it this year.
I don't think they did either.
Yeah.
Supposedly they went like really bad.
Pamela, put your money elsewhere. Invest it somewhere else,
AKA he
Zoom
conference the Celtics.
Yeah. I mean, invest in the Celtics. Well, I'd be cool with that.
So I'll quick aside here. I have a little bit of investment in the Orlando Magic, obviously because it's Walt Disney World, but an Auburn Tiger is now playing he won't be playing this year because he's still working through his injury. But his name's Chuma Okeke. There's an amazing song out there that includes his name that I'm not going to sing for you all right now.
No Bamba?
No.
Oh, well.
Maybe it's Chuma Okeke. Have you heard that one?
No.
That's it. That's all I'm going to do.
No. Good voice, though. That was beautiful, Kyle. Thank you for sharing.
That was embarrassing. That was really bad. All right. Well, we've had a couple other topics we wanted to hit, but it doesn't look like we're going to have time to tonight, and we'll probably push those over. I think they'll still probably be relevant next week if we're able to join each other again. So we'll do that whenever that next time is. I will be definitely back here next Monday night. So if you are able to join us here, please do so. And I hope you can join us on Thursday night for trivia night, where we'll be celebrating Pamela's birthday. Let's see, what hint can I give for the theme? Ooh, strawberries. That's the hint I'm giving you people out there for what the Disney theme will be for trivia night this Thursday.
I think I got it.
I think you do. We'll talk after at the end of the stream here and see if you got it right. Connor, thank you again so much for joining me here on the stream, and thank you for sharing your perspectives about Walt Disney World.
Absolutely, Kyle. Thanks for having me as always.
Thank you for listening. Until we assemble again, may the force be with you, and we'll see you real soon.